and also I assume others are carrying us live on various social media platforms, including our very own Electoral Commission of Zambia platform. My name is Patricia Lukanga, Manager of Corporate Affairs for the Commission, and my role, as usual, is just to facilitate our discussion for this morning. The Chief Electoral Officer is also being supported by colleagues from management as well as other ECZ staff. So without further ado, let me introduce the Chief Electoral Officer, Mr. Brown Kasaro, and equally ask him to address us this morning.
Thank you, Patricia. Good morning, members of the press, and thank you for coming to this briefing where the Commission is updating the general public on the conduct of Phase 1 of the 2025 mass registration of voters exercise. I wish to remind you that the Commission targets to register 3.5 million eligible citizens as new voters. This is in addition to the existing register of voters that stands at 7 million. Let me begin by indicating that on 13th October 2025, the Electoral Commission of Zambia commenced the mass registration of voters exercise. This program is being implemented in 6 phases in all the 156 constituencies to ensure accessibility of the services across the country. Today, the Commission is providing an update on Phase 1 of the voter registration exercise, and this phase ranged from 13th October to 16th October 2025. In addition, the Commission also updates you on the provisional registration statistics recorded as at the close of day on 16th October 2025. Let me begin by addressing the following operational matters. 1, the service scope. The voter registration exercise is catering for a range of services. These are new registrations, replacements, transfers, corrections, and removal of deceased voters in line with the law. If you registered in 2020 or during the continuous registration of voters and still have your voter's card, you may remain you remain on the register and do not need to register again. However, if you have changed location, damaged or lost your card, this is the opportunity to update your record and obtain a replacement. 2, deployment plans. As you may be aware, the voter registration exercise is being conducted in 6 phases across the country. Members of the public, they wish to note that we are currently in Phase 2 of the exercise, and all centers earmarked to be opened in Phase 2 are operational. Please note that these registration centers will open daily from 08 hours to 17 hours, including weekends, except on days when the teams are relocating to the next registration center or transitioning to the next phase. Let me repeat that. Please take note that the registration centers open daily from 8 hours to 17 hours, including weekends and public holidays, except on days when teams are relocating to the next registration center or transitioning to the next phase. Further, to ensure that members of the public can easily identify where and when registration is taking place, the Commission has published detailed deployment plans indicating the centers that are open in each phase. The deployment plans have been uploaded on the Commission's official website, and the link has been widely circulated through WhatsApp groups and various social media platforms to enhance accessibility and public awareness. In addition, all districts have been directed to share these deployment plans widely on all council platforms, through the churches, markets, and other strategic community spaces. Further, members of the public are free to visit the respective district councils to access these deployment plans. This approach is ensuring that even citizens in remote communities can easily access information on voter registration centers and schedules. Voter registration equipment. To support the voter registration exercise, the Commission has distributed over 2,000 voter registration kits, together with generator sets across the country. This equipment is critical to ensuring that registration activities proceed smoothly, including in areas with limited or no access to electricity. In addition, the Commission has put in place contingency measures to guarantee operational efficiency throughout the registration period. A team of technical support staff has been assigned to each province to swiftly attend to any technical issues that may arise with voter registration kits or generator sets. This proactive approach ensures minimal disruption to the registration process and sustained delivery in all centers. 4, voter education and publicity. In terms of publicity and voter education, the Commission has adopted a multimedia approach to sensitize citizens on the ongoing voter registration exercise. Messages have been placed across various platforms, including radio, television, print, public address system, and social media, complemented by extensive voter education programs being implemented countrywide. To support these efforts, the Commission has deployed about 2,000 voter education facilitators to sensitize members of the community on the voter registration exercise. Further, the Commission has constituted district voter education committees in all the 116 districts to coordinate and monitor the implementation of voter education activities. The membership of the district voter education committees is drawn from civil society and faith-based organizations and government agencies. To complement the Commission's efforts in publicity and voter education, we appeal to all stakeholders, including the media, to mobilize their constituencies. As for the media, their viewer or indeed listenership, share information about voter registration to motivate and encourage their respective audiences to effectively participate in the process. Let me now speak to the provisional statistics for phase 1, that is as at 16th October 2025. During phase 1, the Commission has recorded a provisional total of 200,080 registrations, broken down as follows: 95,907 new registrations. So these would be what we refer to as first-time voters. 95,907 new registrations, further broken down as follows: males 43,587 and females 51,346. In terms of updates, we have 104,173 updates. These include transfers and replacements. The following is a provincial outlook of the new registrations for phase 1. So this is the breakdown per province. I'll only speak to the totals. I think at some point, corporate affairs will share the statement that the details numbers can be extracted therefrom. So in terms of new registrations by province, in alphabetical order, so Central Province has recorded 5,148, Copperbelt Province 16,550, Eastern Province 7,973, Luapula Province 14,106, Lusaka Province 9,248, Muchinga Province 3,990, Northern Province 8,939, Northwestern Province 8,244, Southern Province 11,223, and Western Province 10,486, bringing the total to 95,907. Further, the following is a provincial breakdown for updates, which includes replacements and transfers for phase 1. Central Province 5,741, Copperbelt Province 17,225, Eastern Province 11,359, Luapula Province 13,515, Lusaka Province 8,833, Muchinga Province 5,334, Northern Province 12,432, Northwestern Province 7,470, Southern Province 12,266, and Western Province 9,998, bringing the total to 104,173. Please note that these figures are provisional and subject to routine verification and subsequently deduplication. Members of the public are being reminded that the Commission will conduct inspection of the provisional register of voters at a later stage to ensure the integrity of the register. Key reminders to stakeholders and the public. 1, you are eligible to register as a voter if you are a Zambian citizen in possession of a green national registration card and you turn the age of 18 years by 30th April 2026. And let me take this opportunity also to remind the public once again that if you registered in 2020 or indeed during the continuous registration of voters and you're still in possession of your voter's card, you do not need to register again. The Commission has acknowledged the presence of some stakeholders in registration centers as observers, which is very key for the credibility of the process. Stakeholders are encouraged to monitor the voter registration exercise in line with the accreditation guidelines. However, the Commission has noted that despite the provision for 3 observers per constituency per organization, some constituencies have recorded less numbers of observers getting accredited. Number 3, the Commission has noted a lot of misinformation and disinformation from stakeholders regarding the ongoing mass voter registration exercise. Some of these allegations are unsubstantiated and an injury to the credibility of the process. To this effect, the Commission has decided to summon some of these individuals who have been making unsubstantiated allegations in accordance with Regulation 11, Sub-Regulation 2 of the Electoral Code of Conduct, which mandates the Commission to summon any person contravening the Electoral Code of Conduct. Number 4, stakeholders and members of the public are urged to follow official ECZ channels for verified information and indeed deployment schedules to see which centers are open. In conclusion, let me indicate that the Commission will provide regular updates on the voter registration exercise to keep stakeholders informed. Further, the Commission encourages stakeholders to support its efforts to sensitize members of the public about this voter registration exercise, but also to verify information with district officers and the Commission as the Commission continues to run an open door policy in all its operations. I thank you.
Thank you, CEO. This is an opportunity that we have given you to interact, ask questions. If there are any questions, you just raise your hand and we'll get to you. Mark, I can see your hands up.
Good morning. My name is Mark Zengone from Zambia, DC. I want to find out, there has been allegations or other investigations that the Commission has not done well in terms of voter registration because maybe they have not advertised, maybe they have to go through their words. Are you considering maybe using influencers maybe to spread further information about voter registration? Influencers like the likes of Bishop Kugo and others. Thank you.
That's a challenge when you're dealing with other people coming in as journalists, but they're also influencers. So I'll show you Mark's page so that you see what is being referred to. Do we have any other question maybe before we respond? Oh, my apologies, the cameras are hiding you. If you can proceed.
Good morning, panel. Barnabas Zulu from Daily Nation. My first question, I would like to basically seek clarity on the matter that you have said that you have summoned some of the stakeholders. Would you be kind enough to mention the stakeholders that have been summoned? And my second question relates to the voter registration. So yesterday, someone called me saying that after we numbers exclude the person went for voter registration. And what happened is that when they went to register, they discovered that there were two profiles in the system for the same person. One was registered in Lusaka, and the other one was registered in somewhere in Mansa, Province. So the person expressed concern to say that what was this all about? So I would like to see clarity on this. Thank you.
Do we have any other hands that I may not be able to see? Mr. Marilong, I didn't even
I
see you,
was not
sir.
aware that it was only received, but if you don't want me, it's all right. I won't ask.
Can we engage afterwards?
Yeah, fine.
Thank you. I see already will allow you to respond as we also give our colleagues an opportunity to, oh, there's a hand. Please.
Good morning. My name is Elfie Mwalish from London. I'm from Diamond TV. My question is, there have been reports by some observers that some registration centers have failed to open. How is ECZ managing this so that the process of registration goes on smoothly in all locations country?
Thank you say, or you may respond to those who still come up to you to get more questions.
Thank you. I'll go in the order the questions were put across. In terms of expanding the channels of sensitizing, yes, the Commission is reviewing. I may not specifically speak to influencers. However, I think the greatest concern has been in terms of the rural communities. And as indicated earlier, we are working through our district voter education committees, whose membership includes public agencies like Zambia News and Information Service, so that they can complement through those voter education committee mechanisms, they can complement the work of our voter education facilitators on the ground to make sure as many of our members of the public in a given community are aware about the voter registration exercise. Maybe to explain a bit more about this is that, as indicated earlier, voter registration is being conducted in phases. So at each phase, we're talking about 2,000 registration centers open across the country. And we have also deployed voter education facilitators against each of those centers to ensure that the community in that catchment area is sensitized to take advantage of the registration process. However, just maybe to speak to it directly, is that we continue to review and update the strategies so that we reach as many as possible. In terms of the second question, intervention rather, you will note that the Commission will, I said the Commission will summon. So at this stage, I'll ask you to be patient and wait. At that point, when the Commission does summon, you will be advised as to who has been summoned, as has been the practice in pursuant to Regulation 11, as earlier indicated. In terms of the issue that you've highlighted at Arthur Wiener School, I will speak to this issue in terms by addressing the process through which the Commission undergoes to prepare a register of voters. So we firstly begin by a registration process similar to what we're doing right now. At the end of this exercise, we'll consolidate all the applications, all the records of people that have applied to register as voters. This then is followed by, once we consolidate, is followed by a preparation of a provisional register of voters. This process also includes cleaning of the data and checking for multiple registrations, if any. After the preparation of the provisional register, this register is displayed for public inspection in all the polling stations, and for the current register that we're preparing, this exercise is scheduled for February 2026. It is only after that the Commission proceeds to certify the register. Given this extensive process, which not only is exclusive to the Commission, but also open to stakeholders and indeed citizens through the inspection process, the Commission guarantees an accurate and credible register. So in this respect, addressing your particular issue is an issue that we will follow through with the registration officer on the ground. But one would not expect that, given the process I've outlined, that one would allege the Commission did this deliberately, if indeed proved true. However, as it is, it's an item we will follow up with our officers on the ground and check, because as it is already highlighted, this is an issue of a record from the 2020 voter registration operations. But once again, as indicated, stakeholders can rest assured, given the process that is I've outlined, which process is provided for in the regulations. In terms of the third intervention, centers that are felt open. The Commission has received these reports, and a review of the same has highlighted two main sources of, rather three categories of issues. During the transition from phase 1 to phase 2, remember earlier on I indicated that phase 1 ran from 13th October to 16th. 17th October was the day for transitioning to phase 2, and for the rural communities, that literally means relocating, because the polling stations are distances apart, which rather the registration centers. Now, some stakeholders went to registration centers on the 17th, and as naturally the centers were closed because our officers were moving to the next phase. So that is one source of this issue. But as earlier indicated, with the extensive sharing of the deployment plan, we believe our stakeholders and indeed citizens out there are ably informed. Let me also take note that in such instances, if this related to eligible citizens that intended to register as voters, not all hope is lost. As we have always said, a person does not necessarily need to present themselves at the polling station where they would like to go and vote in 2026 to register as a voter. They can go to any registration center and indicate to the officer that this is the place where I would like to go and vote, and they will be attended to. So the fact that our officers have left all the centers that were in phase 1 does not mean that those people are excluded. They can still access registration centers in the subsequent phases and be able to register as voters. The second issue that this emanated from is, again, in a few instances, along the line of rail. In our deployment operations, ideally, especially in the rural areas, our registration centers our officers are camping at the respective registration centers. So come 8 hours, it's easier for them to open. Now, for urban centers, for purposes of security and so forth, some officers, you would agree with me, some registration centers or polling stations are located in areas that may not be secure. So we demobilize every evening and redeploy every morning. Now, we still, so that our officers open the centers on time. So this is an item that we are monitoring continuously through our various structures in the districts and supervisors for each constituency to ensure that our officers are on time to attend to members of the public. I think, I beg your pardon, I think I indicated 3, but rather those are the 2 items that could have, raised that concern around the center not being open. But otherwise, during each phase, all the voter registration centers remain open to attend to both the new registrations and the updates as explained. I thank you.
Thank you. Do we have further questions? So I can see one hand. Please, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Copperbelt from Millennium Radio. phase one has been met with some concerns. For people going for polling stations or for registration, and then they're told to say that the officer not working because of issues to do with power. For the phases that are remaining, are you planning to engage CESCO to ensure that at least somehow they meet in your schedule so that you're able to meet your target? And speaking of the target, looking at the fact that the numbers that you've registered so far, are you confident of meeting the target of 3.5 million, or maybe consider the suggestion State Council John Samba to extend this particular registration, or maybe it is to ensure that you're able to apply finance for that concern? On social media, we've also seen there being photos apparently of children with voters' cards and NRCs. I'm not sure if you are aware of that, but for the sake of ensuring there is correct information that is put out there, I'm sure you've seen this. What is your thinking as far as that is actually concerned? Thank you very much.
Do we have any other question, or we consider those 3 or 2 issues as the last? In case I am not seeing any hands and you want to ask a question, just signal. Okay, so maybe we take those as the last questions.
Thank you very much, Millennium Radio. In terms of power supply, yes, we have engaged ZESCO. However, let me indicate that from the start of the exercise, the primary plan of the Commission is that each registration center is provided for with standby power via portable generators. So this is the operational model that we have employed, especially that a good number, if not the majority of our registration centers are in rural areas that are outside of the grid. So this is what I did speak to earlier, that we have teams in each of the provinces to make sure that our officers are adequately supported to ensure that any technical issues that arise are addressed promptly, and where registration is interrupted, operations resume as quickly as possible. In terms of the target, the numbers that I've shared in terms of phase one may appear low, but I think from the Commission's message, rather, is at this stage, as stakeholders, let's work together to encourage every eligible citizen to go and register. The same way that you have received the reports from members of the public, I'm sure you will also acknowledge that members of the public have indicated that I've gone to centers and probably they are the only ones registering. So we'd like to work together with yourselves at the media. Yes, we have provided paid for adverts and engagements like this, but we would appreciate in your programming to drop in a sentence and remind citizens to register as voters. It's all our responsibility. And for all stakeholders out there, I think let's all focus on encouraging. Immediately we begin to indicate that these targets are ambitious, no, let's extend, we are indirectly discouraging citizens. But rather, let's work together to ensure that as many as are eligible turn up to register as voters. And and the Commission wishes to acknowledge an equally good number of stakeholders that have used their various platforms to encourage citizens to register to vote. So that is our message. And as indicated earlier, we'll continue to update you and review the performance of the exercise as we go along. And you will see how we're performing with respect to the target. Let me also indicate that sometimes when we say the target is ambitious, it's like we're saying the Commission should have set a low target, thereby leaving eligible citizens out there. No, I think the Commission has to set the target that we ensure that the register of voters is as inclusive as possible. Every citizen out there that is eligible is given an opportunity to register as a voter. In terms of the social media report, yes, the Commission is aware of this, and through our social media platforms, we have clearly indicated that these, upon verification, are fake images. To provide further detail, where this information includes video clips, if you pay particular attention, you will note that the voter registration equipment in that video is not the kit we're using right now to register in this 2025 registration exercise. So go and take a look at what our kit looks like, and if you look at those videos, you will see that that kit is not what the Commission is using to register voters in the 2025 mass registration exercise. In other cases, where it's still pictures, if you look at those photos, you will take note that you will notice that in some instances, it's photos of voters' cards that were issued in 2026 or indeed prior. You will recall that in 2020, the Electoral Commission of Zambia undertook a fresh registration. And at that point, the outlook of the voter's card was changed. And this is the card that we're using now, and with just an update of the logo to the current logo that the Commission is using. So if you scrutinize some of those images, you realize they're bearing, rather the outlook of the voter's card is the voter's card that we used in the 2016 general election, or indeed prior to that. So we'll continue to monitor the various platforms and address this issue of disinformation or indeed misinformation, but just to continue to encourage, and in this respect also, let me take this opportunity to appreciate a lot of vigilant citizens out there that were straight away when those pieces of information were shared, straight away went to dispute them, outlining some of these facts that I'm sharing today. So citizens out there were able to see that no, this is not now. This is not true. And so we continue to commend the citizens that are, in this case, watching over the process. It's not watching over the Electoral Commission, but the electoral process, which is for the people of Zambia, to ensure that the credibility thereof is maintained by sharing accurate information about the exercise. I thank you.
We have come to the end of our briefing for today, but just give me 1 minute.